Another episode of our ultimate compression and compressor guide here on MixbusTv. On this video, the best FET compressor plugins. Let's get to it. Hello everyone, welcome back to MixbusTv. Hope you're having a great day. Before we start, check the info box down below for my mixing courses on Pro Mix Academy, hip hop, metal, drums, free plugins, and special discounts and offer. And if the videos are helping you, you want to support the channel and also access to exclusive content like exclusive videos, live chats, mix consultations via email or Skype with me, Pro Tools sessions and files to download, and much more, you can become a MixbusTv member. Click the join button down here, see all the perks. But let's get to the video. The most famous FET compressor design is the 1176. We all know that, and there are so many plugins out there emulating that style, and I have many of them. It was hard to pick one to put a number one, but I had to go with the one that I seem to default more often where I need that style of compression in the box, and it is the Waves CLA 76. Usually my go-to on vocals, either by itself or in combination with another one. This plugin is great, not just the sound of it, but I feel like it's very forgiving. So it has a wide sweet spot. You can adjust the settings pretty much ballpark and it will sound great. And it's great the fact that you have both the black face and the blue face in one plugin. Black face being rounder, less saturated, blue face being more aggressive and in your face. Different gain staging when you leave the setting the same and just switch from one model to the other. I absolutely love this plugin. The fact that I default to this one without even thinking, it tells me something. It just works. No matter how close it is to the original unit, and this one was modeled after Chris Lord Alge specific units, both the black face and the blue face, so you never know what that specific unit sound like, because especially for vintage gear, they all sound different, and sometimes they sound very different one to another. But regardless, this is a workhorse plugin. It's amazing for vocals, like I said, any kind of vocals really, used either in solo or combination. Great for parallel drums and of course kick and snare, main application for the 1176. But one thing that I really like about this one, I used to own two 1176 hardware units, is the saturation mode. The all bottom mode works as intended, and that's very nice because for a plugin it's not easy to do that. But when you disengage the compression and you use the unit, the red button on the plugin, and you just drive input and output to get saturation out of it, if you don't know this trick, try it. The saturation on board is very, very close to the hardware and absolutely useful in the box. So number one, Waves CLA 76. But I would put it at number one as well because it's one of the most accurate emulation of the hardware 1176 is the UAD 1176. I still don't have UAD with me, but I worked with this one so many times. I actually am working with an artist here in LA right now, and he has it and he uses it so very often. So many times I work with his sessions. He has this plugin all over the place and it sounds impressive. It is actually the closest I've heard to the real hardware. And like I said, I had two Universal Audio, now I have the Mimas hardware, so I'm more than familiar with that. And it's even better since UAD revamped the 1176, the original plugin they had, and now you have three versions of it in one plugin. It's absolutely great. You have so much versatility and three different colors, and if I'm happy to have both black face and blue face in the CLA 76, it's even better because you have 3Ds, and UAD plugins are high quality, so definitely this one is at the same level, number one for 1176 plugin emulation. And number two, and again this was hard to put the number two, is the Arturia FET 76. I recently got all of them, the three compressor, the three preamps. They are absolutely great. I have videos, I have video review dedicated for all of them, including the FET 76. It's a great FET compressor emulation, and this one I love it because it has extended controls on the side chain, mid side, and some unique features like time warp and compression range, so you can limit the compression regardless of settings. That's a function I think every compressor should have. So I absolutely love it because it makes the 1176 so much more versatile, and the saturation on board sounds great. Again, main application for this one include all the main application that you would use the 1176 for, but with the extended control you can basically use it on the 2 bus if you want. Not common for 1176. any kind of stem or group, so definitely give this one a try. I have the hardware, I don't have the plugin, but I tried it several times, and one day I'll probably shoot out hardware versus plugin because they are really close. Is the Drummer 1973, a multi-band FET compressor. In this case, we've seen the hardware unit in the previous video. This is a killer plugin, and I love Soft2 plugin a lot. It's super versatile, just like the hardware, and it's very musical, just like the hardware. It's almost hard to make it sound bad, although it's a multi-band compressor, so you can still mess up if you don't know how to use it. The plugin has a lighter, more subtle color compared to the hardware, but it's still there. But it's not a bad thing, and especially with a multi-band compressor, you have so much control and so many possibilities to change the sound that, you know, if you need saturation, you can add a saturator after it or before. But the plugin is great. It brings all the features that the hardware has, all the control that the hardware has. And one thing that I like about the 73 design in general is that being a multi-band compressor is still so very easy to set up and suitable for basically anything from 2-bus to groups to, like I said, for the hardware, single tracks and vocals as well. And number 4, not another 1176 emulation, but still an emulation of a industry legend that is not so common and ubiquitous as the 1176, but was legendary, and it was the Compex. This one is the Plus 10 dB by Boss Lab. This compressor was a secret weapon for drums, for rock, for a long time. It's gritty, aggressive, snappy, and very, very versatile. It's killer not just on drums, it was also a secret weapon on vocals for that gritty, aggressive, overcompressed vocal sound for rock and metal in general. Definitely something to try. Nothing sounds like this one. It's a very unique sounding plugin, just like the hardware was and is. There's a reissue out there, a very unique sounding. And generally speaking, all Boss Lab plugins are great. I actually met the guy at NAMM, super nice, so definitely check this one out. I feel like I put this one everywhere, but that says something. Waves are Comp, yes, is actually also a FET Compressor emulation plugin. And we mentioned it in the Opto Compressor video. This plugin has 2 modes, the Opto and the Electro. The Electro is basically an emulation of an 1176. Arguably, it was probably the first emulation of an 1176, of a FET compressor in general. It wasn't official, it wasn't written anywhere, or maybe in the manual somewhere, I don't remember. But regardless, this compressor for me is still at the top. I still use it all the time. It is very much like the CLA 76. It's like a default. When I don't even want to think what compressor do I want to use, but I just want something that works. And not just that works, but most times I find myself trying 10 compressors on something because I feel like I want to change, or I feel like I want to experiment, or I want to try different things, and I go back to this one as a first choice. So it's such a simple design, such a simple plugin, but maybe because we are used to it, sound has been used in countless records and still is, we are familiar with the sound and we like what we are familiar with. That's also one of the reasons because we like the classics. Sure, they are great, but maybe they are not the best, like the various LA2As, 1176 and all that. Why the designs all follow these classics? Because we like what we are used to, what we are familiar with. And the Waves are Comp, I feel like it became a classic on its own because it definitely has a sound. It does not have the strict emulation characteristics of the CLA 76. It's not that saturated, it doesn't have like the same controls, but still it has its own sound and its own behavior, and it happened to work more often than not. The whole Renaissance bundle, it's great. There's the RVox that I use all the time, the Express that I use all the time. So it's usually on sale and it's usually cheap. Don't overlook this one just because it's dated somehow, it's old. They actually revamped the GUI, which I already mentioned I'm not a fan of, but still, it sounds the same, it's the same plugin, but still, I feel like Wave R Comp should be in your arsenal just because how ubiquitous it is. So many productions still use this one. For so many engineers, it's still, you know, the first choice. So definitely check it out if you don't know it. I featured the next brand before because, again, they make great plugins and I feel like they are underrated. PSP FET Compressor. It's another take, again, on the 1176 style, and some people point this one, though, as their favorite 1176 emulation. I didn't spend that much time with it. I tried a couple of times. So I'm not gonna talk about it that much, but I can vouch for some of the PSP plugins, like the Vintage Warmer. It's still like a cool plugin, and some of their new compressors are absolutely great. Old Timer, now there's a multi-band version that I want to check out because the Old Timer was pretty good. But just to mention it, PSP FET Compressor is another color, another take on the FET style compressor, and many people rave about it, so definitely check it out. Last one for this list, and of course link down below your favorite FET compressors at the end of the video. It's Soft Tube FET. This again is another 76 emulation. I said it at the beginning, there are so many out there. To me it sounds and behave very differently than an 1176. That's also why I put it here. While it's supposed to be a 76 style compressor, I don't feel and recognize the classic 1176 behavior and sound. I think it has a sound on its own. I think it's similar, it's aggressive, it has some of the same characteristic of an 1176, of a aggressive FET style compressor, but I don't feel it's a one-to-one, it's a beast on its own. It sounds great, and the saturation on board, it's great. I love the saturation knob from Softtube free plugin that you can get. I think that one comes from one of their passive EQs, but Softtube in general is recognizable, the saturation they have, and on this one is definitely great. This one, like the Arturia, has extended features, so you can tailor these compressors to pretty much all the material. It has a unique tone and a grit that I find different from all the other emulations. And this is it for this video. I hope it was useful. I hope you liked it, and if you did, please don't forget to leave a like. All the links to the plugins are going to be in the info box down below, and of course, like I said before, go crazy in the comment. Let me know what is or are your favorite FET compressors plugins. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. See you next time.